Our next speaker, I'm proud to say, is from Honeywell. She actually runs quite a few of the divisions at Honeywell. And Sarah's been in the industry a little while now, so she got her feet wet during COVID, which was an interesting time. She's done a great job managing the group. She's been elevated to some new positions, and we're glad to have her. Sarah Bencic from Honeywell, come on up. Thank you.
Thank you. Very excited to be here. And I love the theme that Scott and the Cochrane Supply team have chosen for this event, because I think it's a perfect way to describe our industry. You know, this idea of an odyssey, a long and wandering journey. And that's how it feels sometimes. When we think about, we're hearing this pace of acceleration and AI coming to new levels in 5 years, but at the same time, BACnet over IP has been around for a quarter century, and I would imagine every now and then you have a new install that's still MSTP. So we're kind of in this unique kind of fast, slow in terms of where we are on this journey, on this odyssey. And I feel like I'm very lucky to kind of join into this journey at this time where there is so much happening. As Scott mentioned, I've been now in the building industry for about 3 years, and I manage at Honeywell. I manage the BMS, our Building Management Solutions Group for our Americas, and general manager of that team. And I love being at events like this because if you think about the amount of experience and the different perspectives that are now housed in one room, and that each individual in this room came here because they want to talk about where integration's heading in the future and what are we going to be able to do with it. So Honeywell has their journey and their odyssey into building automation is much longer than mine. If you saw in the video, Honeywell was both one of the horses, so with the history in pneumatics, which there's still a lot of pneumatics out there, and then Honeywell was also one of the towers in the space colony. So they've really run the gamut with 10 million buildings worldwide, deployed with Honeywell solutions. We have over 4,000 patents in the building automation industry, and those span across not just building management systems, but also fire, security, and the solutions that will continue, to Jim's point, to bring them more and more together. And so where are we looking? When we look at the future, what are we seeing as Honeywell? And we're focused in a couple different areas. And I think you'll find a lot of common themes from some of the speakers that are here today. One, very obviously sustainability, where we're managing energy and carbon footprint. Operational efficiency, where we're providing better control of buildings and also making the integration process more seamless. And then the last being safety, which is keeping kind of a different spin or a way to think about security, keeping networks, people, and places safe. How did we come to these areas? It's really a function of what's happening not only in our industry, but just the world overall. And then we've had some discussion around this already. If we think about sustainability, it's being driven in both ways. From a carrot perspective, unprecedented levels of funding available for clean energy. Over almost $370 million just for the first tranche of the Inflation Reduction Act. But it's also happening from the stick perspective as well, where we're seeing more and more regulations around forcing this pace forward of buildings having to meet certain carbon reduction commitments over a period of time. New York City being a great example of requiring large buildings to have a 40% carbon reduction by 2030. And so that's at the same time, while we're having this renewed commitment and the higher level commitment to sustainability, we're in a marketplace where 70% of the commercial square footage in the US was built before 1999. So we've got some work to do, and that's why folks are going to be looking to all of us to help them drive portfolio level sustainability goals and energy savings. Now, there's that demand because of this commitment, and we've got this tension because, as has been highlighted repeatedly, as I'm sure you feel on a daily basis, we've got a skills gap. Right, we're still only at 63% labor participation. We're not back up to pre-pandemic participation, and particularly for the demand for skilled folks and expertise is higher than anything else. The Bureau of Labor Statistics anticipates engineering skills, the demand will continue to grow at 13% compound annual growth all the way from today through 2031. So it's going to continue to be something that we're struggling with. It's not a this year or next year, it's something that we're going to have to continue to build solutions to help us solve. And that's going to come in different forms, but one of the big ways that we're going to be able to achieve that, we've got these enablers like AI, but overall, it's this move. It's driving this move towards digitized, remote, simplified experiences, both from an integration perspective and from the building management perspective. And then with that move towards digitization, obviously, it can create some risk from a cybersecurity perspective. Both in, we continue to see the number of instances of cybersecurity attacks increase, but also the complexity and the cost of them is becoming greater and greater as people progress their skill sets in that area. And so it continues to be fundamental for all of us to make sure that cybersecurity is the backbone of everything we do, because that's how we're going to continue to gain trust with buildings owners in the industry that this is the direction we need to head collectively. So I wanted to provide a couple areas, specific areas that aren't far in the future, but kind of first steps on this continuing odyssey, this continuing journey of where we're taking the sustainability, security, operational efficiency to the next level. Some examples of new frontiers that aren't way out in the future, but that we can see and touch today. And one of those new frontiers is connected power. So we all know buildings contribute 40% of the carbon footprint. And of that, where that energy is used in the building, obviously HVAC, where we've spent a lot of time in the history, is the energy hog, 50% on average of a building's energy usage. But the next piece of that usage is actually power consumed at the plug load level. And historically, the default has been to just leave plugs powered on 24/7. And that's been the default because there's really been no capability to monitor or control at that plug level. And that's really what we are doing today with connected power. So how does it work? It's a retrofit solution that essentially replaces standard sockets, or standard outlets with intelligent outlets. And then those outlets are connected to hubs through Mira wireless mesh network. And then the hubs connect to the existing IP infrastructure through BACnet IP. More important than how it works is what can it do? First and foremost, it can unlock that 25% to give control now to be able to really touch and impact 75% of the building's energy usage through both HVAC and plug control. But that's not the only thing that it can do. And I'll touch on a couple of other areas. One is protecting critical assets. So you think about what are some of the things that we plug into the walls? Let's take refrigeration. If I'm a biopharma lab and I've got some research going on that I'm plugged into the fridge, you better believe I don't want to redo that research and have it go down. And so that's another play for where connected power and that control can come in and that monitoring can come in to send those notifications when that equipment is starting to exhibit signs of potential failure and get ahead of damaging those critical assets. The other piece is safety. There are on average almost 17,000 fires that are caused, non-house fires that are caused from electrical distribution management or electrical related fires. And so with connected power, the actual outlet is able to monitor the heat level, and if that temperature exceeds the set point for heat level, it'll actually decommission the outlet and shut off power to the appliance immediately, reducing that risk of electrical fire. So connected power isn't the only step we've been taking into some of these new frontiers. Over the last year, we've renewed our entire portfolio, all the way from the plant controller, all the way down through our peripheral devices. And we did this for a couple reasons. One, I think we're all getting the message that the pace of acceleration of how fast we're moving forward is going to get faster and faster. And the needs of building managers are going to continue to change faster and faster. And so having one platform will enable us to innovate faster so we can help solve those problems collectively. But the main driver and the North Star as we launched and refreshed our portfolio was how do we make things easier? How do we help address this skills gap? And so that was really, we worked on, make efficiency and improving efficiency, and it manifests itself in a lot of different features, which you can definitely hear more about, anywhere from more universal IOs for flexibility on the hardware side, to having BLEs so we can help with mobile commissioning and balancing. But the piece that I want to talk about and focus on today that's truly a new frontier is T1L, which is a part of this platform. So what is T1L? T1L is a communications protocol. It's not a proprietary protocol to Honeywell. It was actually designed by the IEEE, And I call it the new standard, in quotes as you see up there, because they designed it in 2019. On top of that, major silicon manufacturers have been developing components to support the T1L protocol for over a decade. So what is it? It's effectively Ethernet all the way to the edge on twisted pair. And why is this so exciting? It's exciting for many different reasons, but the big one is that it has the speed of Cat5. It provides that Ethernet connection, but over twisted pair. So you think about, from an efficiency perspective, the possibilities on a retrofit side of being able to provide IP speed, Cat5 speed, without having to pull wire. You think about, from a new installation perspective, you can provide that same Cat5 speed, but over twisted pair, so you can avoid having to lay Cat5 and all of the crimping headaches that come with it. So we see a lot of potential here. And the fact that it is Ethernet means you also get the benefit of it being able to run all the IT security standards and make use of certificate-based encryption so that you have both a robust and secure communication protocol all the way through the edge. We talk about security, and I wanted to kind of close with the concept of security. I think it's been the recurring theme in everyone who's spoken today, and I think you'll see that trend continuing. And it really is at the heart and the backbone of everything that we do. If I look specifically to our Optimizer platform, it meets both 802.1x device authentication, which enables organizations to enact their own rules in terms of where those endpoints and how those endpoints interact with their IT networks. It also supports ISA 62443 certification at level 2, which is currently kind of the gold standard from a cybersecurity perspective. But if we look to some of the other industries, if we look to what's happening in some of these panels at IBCon, those standards are going to continue to get more and more rigorous, as they should, and as the threat of cybersecurity continues to evolve. If we look at even the industrial automation industry, the prerequisite for most of the applications there is level 3 for ISA 62443. So we anticipate that'll continue to become a more and more rigorous process. But it is something that we all own because, again, cybersecurity is really, and having that confidence that we can provide connected solutions that are secure is how we're going to continue to advance this pace of progress. And so with that, I will close with a quote from the OG Odyssey, that the journey that stirs you is not far off. And that's because it's not something in the future. It's something that we're standing in and we're progressing today. We think about the possibility of some of these new technologies. We think about some of the ways that you're thinking of using these technologies that no one's thought of before. It really truly makes now the time to reimagine what we can do with building automation and building operations.
Awesome, thank you. So Sarah, that was awesome. Thank you so much. So the connected power conversation, that's really cool.
It is.
I think that's new for a lot of us. I've noticed personally, like in the decarbonization conversations, that there's a new influx of people wanting to do something better for these buildings, especially as Sarah mentioned with, what'd you say, 70% of the buildings built before 99, is that correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to be able to go in and really take a nick out of that part of the energy, we're always doing these payback calcs and all this other stuff for mechanical equipment. I think that the plug load could be a huge area to save energy in buildings. And Honeywell, and this is going to be a BAS product, is that correct? The connected power?
Yep, we definitely see that connectivity of, again, taking that next step in terms of what we're able to control.
Yeah, for sure. And so with that too, and you move into the T1L conversation, I know a lot of people are really excited about that technology. And when will we actually see the first versions of it available, like in the actual market space where people are able to buy it off the shelf today?
In the back of the room today.
Is it ready today?
Yeah.
Nicole?
We've done installations.
Can I get a verification? Okay, all right. Well, that's good. I guess that was a bad question. I should have known that, I guess, but I know we're excited about it. And T1L, of course, Honeywell, they were like the largest lawn reseller for many, many years. Is that a lot of that strategy to help retrofit that old lawn? A lot of the embedded systems that you guys have already put in?
Yeah, I mean, there's still a huge install base of lawn applications out there, so this is a great solution for that. I think what we're finding that was maybe a little bit of a surprise is the benefits for new installs because of the high rate of failure of Cat 5 when you're laying and crimping, that the labor savings there are even higher than we anticipated.
Awesome, and you can daisy chain devices on it, so your lengths can go for forever, I mean, for a long ways. So.
Yeah, the length is a kilometer, and so if you're putting devices every 300 meters, then you can basically have 2 of those 3 devices fall out and you can still have a communicating system.
That's awesome. Cool. Awesome. So some really exciting stuff from Honeywell, huh, folks? Kind of good to hear, right? So thank you, Sarah. All right. Well done.
Thank you.
Great.
Put this up here.
Okay, so I can see you all need a break. Just a short one, though. So before we go, though, I'd like to thank Distech, who bought us all breakfast this morning. Wait, what am I doing this right? Oh, do you want me to do the clicker? Sorry. There we go. There we go. Thank you for the wonderful breakfast burritos, one of my favorites. And so we're gonna close this morning part.